Years ago, a mysterious student named Maya Chen disappeared from Riverside Academy under strange circumstances. When she returned months later, she was completely different. And the bullies who had tormented her were about to learn they had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. The autumn wind whips through the courtyard of St. Catherine's Preparatory School as Alexandra Alex Foster hurries to her first class, keeping her head down. From the outside, she appears to be just another quiet sophomore trying to blend into the crowd. Her slightly worn uniform and secondhand books hint at a life different from her wealthy classmates, but she's mastered the art of becoming invisible. The morning sun casts long shadows across the manicured lawns of the prestigious school, where students arrive in luxury cars and carry designer bags without a second thought. What her classmates don't know is that Alex isn't just another scholarship student. Behind her careful facade lies a secret that could shake the prestigious school to its foundations. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Every morning, she follows the same routine. Arrive early, avoid the main hallways, and slip into class unnoticed. It's a dance she's perfected over the past year, choreographed down to the minute to minimize any interaction with certain students. Victoria Shaw, daughter of prominent Judge Richard Shaw, has made it her personal mission to remind Alex of her place in the school's hierarchy. Today starts like any other, with Victoria's group blocking Alex's path to the classroom. Their designer uniforms are perfectly tailored, a stark contrast to Alex's secondhand clothing. "Oh look, the charity case is wearing the same shoes again," Victoria announces loudly, her voice carrying across the hallway. "Maybe we should start a fundraiser. I'm sure Daddy would love to contribute to such a worthy cause." Her friends, Olivia, Madison, and Rachel, laugh on cue, smartphones ready to capture any reaction, their perfectly manicured nails tapping against their phone screens. But Alex doesn't give them the satisfaction. She's learned to wear her silence like armor, though her hands shake slightly as she grips her books tighter. Victoria steps closer, her designer perfume overwhelming. "What's wrong, Foster?" Can't afford a voice either. More laughter follows as Alex sidesteps the group and enters the classroom. Behind her, she can hear Victoria planning their next little surprise for her at lunch. In class, Alex excels quietly, particularly in subjects like physics and computer science. Her test scores are consistently at the top of the class, but she deliberately keeps her hand down during discussions, preferring to blend into the background. Her teachers note her exceptional performance but remain puzzled by her reluctance to participate. Only Mr. Harrison, the new computer science teacher, seems to notice something different in Alex's eyes, a sharp intelligence that doesn't quite match her carefully crafted persona of a meek scholarship student. He's caught glimpses of complex code on her laptop screen before she quickly switches to basic classroom exercises. After school, Alex works at DataFix, a local tech repair shop tucked away in a quiet corner of downtown. Here, she spends hours fixing computers and phones with remarkable skill, her fingers dancing across circuit boards and wiring with practiced precision. Her co-worker, Danny Zhang, often watches in amazement as she takes apart and rebuilds devices that others have declared hopeless. "You're wasted here," he tells her one day, shaking his head as she resurrects a waterlogged laptop that 3 other technicians had given up on. "You could be working for any tech company you want. I've never seen anyone with your skills, especially not someone your age." The shop's basement has become her sanctuary, filled with spare parts and half-finished projects. What Danny doesn't know is that these projects serve a very specific purpose, one that will soon turn Victoria's carefully ordered world upside down. Hidden behind old computer cases and monitors, Alex has built something that would raise serious questions if anyone looked too closely. At home, Alex lives with her guardian, Sarah Mitchell, in a modest apartment across town. The contrast between her home life and her classmates' luxury is stark, but doesn't seem to bother her. Sarah watches with concern as Alex quietly does her homework at the kitchen table, noting the fresh coffee stain on Alex's uniform sleeve, another of Victoria's accidents. The protective anger in Sarah's eyes suggests she knows more about Alex's situation than she lets on. "Everything okay at school?" Sarah asks carefully, placing a plate of dinner beside Alex's textbooks. Her tone suggests this isn't the first time she's noticed signs of bullying. "Everything's fine," Alex responds with a practiced smile, one that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Sarah doesn't push, but her worried eyes linger. She knows there's more to the story, but Alex has always been careful about keeping her secrets close. The walls of Alex's room are covered with complex technical diagrams and coding sequences that Sarah doesn't understand, but she's learned not to ask too many questions. That evening, as Alex works on her laptop, lines of code reflecting in her glasses, she receives a text from an unknown number. "I know who you really are." Her hand freezes over the keyboard, heart pounding. After 3 years of careful preparation, someone has started to unravel her secret. In her room, Alex opens a locked drawer and pulls out a small, worn notebook. Inside are detailed notes about Victoria and her friends, their schedules, their social media accounts, their secrets. But these aren't the obsessive scribblings of a bullied student plotting revenge. They're methodical, precise, and purpose-driven, like pieces of a puzzle slowly coming together for something much bigger than simple high school revenge. Little do Victoria and her followers realize that their perfect target is anything but vulnerable. The quiet girl they've chosen to torment is about to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. And it won't be anything like they expect. Because Alex Foster isn't just hiding from the bullies. She's waiting for the perfect moment to reveal exactly who she really is, and when she does, nothing at St. Catherine's Preparatory School will ever be the same again. The next morning arrives with a sense of unease. Alex keeps checking her phone, but the mysterious texter hasn't sent any more messages. As she walks through St. Catherine's iron gates, she notices Victoria and her group huddled near the entrance, giggling while looking at their phones. Their laughter stops abruptly when they see her, replaced by knowing smirks that set off warning bells in Alex's mind. During first period chemistry, Alex discovers why. Her lab partner, Maya Chen, usually friendly but too afraid of Victoria to show it openly, slides her phone across the desk when the teacher isn't looking. On the screen is Alex's photo, clearly taken without her knowledge, showing her entering data fix after school. The caption reads, "Guess who's playing tech support? Charity case needs 3 jobs to afford our tuition. No wonder she can't buy new shoes." The post, shared by Victoria, already has hundreds of likes and mocking comments. Alex's hands clench under the desk, but her face remains carefully neutral. What Victoria doesn't realize is that this photo reveals something else, a reflection in the shop window showing whoever took it. Alex recognizes Rachel Martinez, Victoria's newest follower, who's been desperate to prove herself worthy of the inner circle. In computer science, Mr. Harrison announces a special cybersecurity project. "You'll work in pairs to create a security system and then try to breach your classmates' defenses," he explained, scanning the room. "Victoria and Alex, you'll work together." Victoria's protest is immediate and loud, but Mr. Harrison remains firm. Alex says nothing, but there's a glint in her eye that Mr. Harrison catches, something almost like satisfaction. During lunch, Alex heads to the library instead of the cafeteria, knowing Victoria's group will be waiting to continue their torment. She finds her usual hidden corner between the old encyclopedia shelves, pulls out her laptop and begins typing rapidly. Lines of code flow across her screen as she works on something that looks far more advanced than any high school project. "That's not the coding language we're learning in class," a quiet voice observes. Alex slams her laptop shut to find Marcus Wong, a junior known for his programming skills, standing nearby. Instead of the judgment she expects, there's curiosity in his eyes. "You're using an advanced encryption algorithm. Why?" Before Alex can respond, her phone buzzes with another anonymous text. "Smart setup in the basement. But why do you need so much processing power?" Her face pales slightly. Someone has been in her workspace at DataFix. After school, Victoria corners Alex near the computer lab. "Ready to work on our project, scholarship girl?" Her tone drips with fake sweetness. "We can meet at my house. Daddy's having a fundraiser for his re-election campaign. You can see how the other half lives." Her friends snicker behind her. "The library would be better," Alex responds quietly, her first words to Victoria all day. "Fewer distractions." "Fine," Victoria snaps. "Tomorrow after school. Don't waste my time." Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. At Data Fix that evening, Alex inspects the basement carefully. Nothing seems disturbed, but she knows someone has been there. Danny notices her unease. "Everything okay?" "You seem jumpy." "Just tired," she lies, but her mind is racing. The anonymous texter, the photo, the basement, pieces of a puzzle she needs to solve quickly. At home, Sarah is waiting with unexpected news. "Your old school called today," she says carefully. "They're doing some kind of audit of student records from the past few years. They asked about your enrollment dates." Alex's fork clatters against her plate. "What did you tell them?" "Exactly what we practiced," Sarah assures her. "But Alex, how long can we keep this up?" Alex stares at her dinner, appetite gone. "Just a little longer. Everything's almost ready." Later that night, Alex pulls out a small device from her backpack, something she built in Data Fix's basement. It looks like a simple USB drive, but contains much more. Tomorrow's project meeting with Victoria might be exactly what she needs, though not for the reasons Mr. Harrison intended. As she prepares for bed, one final text arrives. "Be careful, Alexandra. Or should I call you Maya?" The phone slips from Alex's suddenly numb fingers. Only 3 people know that name, and 2 of them are dead. Behind her carefully constructed facade, Alex Foster is indeed hiding something much bigger than her classmates could imagine. But while Victoria thinks she's tormenting a helpless scholarship student, she's actually provoking someone who has spent years preparing for this moment. The real question isn't whether Alex will break under the bullying. It's whether St. Catherine's is ready for what happens when she finally fights back. The library meeting with Victoria proves to be exactly what Alex expected: a power play. Victoria arrives 30 minutes late, flanked by Madison and Rachel, the click of their designer heels echoing through the quiet library. Their entrance draws attention from other students, exactly as intended. "Sorry," Victoria says with a mock apology, her voice carrying just loud enough to be disruptive. "Daddy's campaign meeting ran late. Not that you'd understand anything about important meetings. Some of us have real responsibilities." Alex says nothing, her laptop already open to their cybersecurity project. The screen's soft glow illuminates her face in the dimly lit corner she deliberately chose, far from prying eyes and curious ears. Victoria drops into the chair across from her, examining her manicure with exaggerated boredom, while Madison and Rachel hover nearby, occasionally giggling at private jokes on their phones. "So, how are we doing this?" Victoria asks, not bothering to lower her voice despite the librarian's warning glance. "You handle the tech stuff? I handle the presentation? That's what charity cases are for, right? All work, no credit." She smirks at her friends, who dutifully laugh on cue. "Actually," Alex responds, her voice steady and controlled, "Mr. Harrison specified that both partners need to demonstrate understanding of the security protocols. Here." She slides a USB drive across the table, the same one she'd been working on. The innocent-looking device holds much more than just project examples, but its true purpose is carefully hidden beneath layers of seemingly normal code. Victoria picks up the drive with obvious distaste, holding it between 2 manicured fingers as if it might contaminate her. "Whatever, I'll look at it later." She drops it into her designer bag without a second glance, exactly as Alex anticipated. Behind her carefully neutral expression, Alex feels a flicker of satisfaction. Phase 1 complete. Later that evening, Alex sits in Data Fix's basement, surrounded by the gentle hum of servers and cooling fans. Multiple screens glow in front of her, casting blue-white light across her concentrated face. One shows a command prompt running complex sequences. Another displays a security feed of Victoria's house. Apparently, the judge's campaign takes cybersecurity seriously, but not seriously enough. A third monitor tracks the USB drive's activity, showing exactly when and how Victoria uses it. Danny comes downstairs with coffee, the rich aroma mixing with the familiar smell of electronics and solder. He pauses at the sight of Alex's setup, his reflection visible in one of the darker screens. "That doesn't look like homework," he observes carefully, placing the coffee near her keyboard. "Just practicing for the cybersecurity project," Alex replies smoothly, switching screens with practiced speed. But Danny's seen enough to look concerned. He's been working with computers long enough to recognize when someone's doing more than just homework. "Alex," he starts, leaning against a nearby desk. "Whatever you're planning, be careful. Some systems, once you break them, you can't put them back together." His tone suggests he's speaking from experience. She meets his eyes for a moment, seeing genuine worry there. "Some systems need to be broken," she responds quietly, her fingers never stopping their dance across the keyboard. The next morning, Victoria storms into class, face flushed with anger and designer scarf askew, a telling sign of her distress. She makes a beeline for Alex's desk, slamming her perfectly manicured hands down with enough force to make nearby students jump. "What did you do?" she hisses, her composed facade cracking. Alex looks up with perfect innocence, her expression carefully crafted. "I don't understand." Each word is measured, calm, the perfect counterpoint to Victoria's barely contained rage. "My phone's acting weird, my laptop's glitching, and Daddy's campaign website keeps showing error messages. This started right after you gave me that drive." Victoria's voice rises with each accusation, drawing attention from their classmates. Mr. Harrison appears behind Victoria, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Is there a problem, ladies?" His tone suggests he's seen enough of Victoria's behavior before. Victoria straightens immediately, transforming like a switch has been flipped. Her voice turns honeyed, practiced. "No, Mr. Harrison, just discussing the project. The perfect student, the judge's perfect daughter back in control." But as she returns to her seat, she sends Alex a murderous glare that promises retribution. During lunch, Victoria's group surrounds Alex's table in a practiced intimidation formation they've used countless times before. "Fix it," Victoria demands, her designer bracelet clinking against the table as she leans forward. "Fix it now, or I'll make sure Daddy's lawyers get involved. Trust me, you don't want that." "I'd be happy to help," Alex replies calmly, taking a deliberate bite of her sandwich. "But we should probably discuss the other files I found while running diagnostics, like the ones showing who really hacked the school's grading system last semester." Her tone is conversational, but the threat is clear. Victoria's face goes pale, the expensive foundation unable to hide her sudden loss of color. Behind her, Rachel and Madison exchange nervous glances, their usual confidence wavering. None of them notice Marcus Wong watching intently from nearby, his expression thoughtful as he observes the power dynamics shifting before him. After school, another anonymous text arrives. "Clever move with the USB, but are you sure you want to play this game? Ask Maya how it ended last time." The message makes Alex's fingers go cold against her phone screen. Alex's hands shake as she deletes the message, a crack in her usually perfect composure. At home, she finds Sarah waiting with more troubling news, her guardian's worried expression visible before she even speaks. "Someone called asking about your records from Riverside Academy today. They seemed especially interested in dates." Before Alex can respond, her phone rings, an unlisted number. The sound seems to fill the small apartment with tension. She answers to find a familiar voice that sends chills down her spine. "Hello, Alexandra." Or is it Alex now? "We need to talk about what really happened at Riverside." That night, Alex can't sleep. The shadows in her room seem deeper than usual as she pulls out an old photo hidden in her desk drawer. It shows two girls, both in Riverside Academy uniforms, standing before a familiar brick building. One is clearly a younger Alex, smiling in a way she never does anymore. The other's face has been burned away, the damage deliberate and violent. The next morning, Victoria is absent from first period, her usual seat conspicuously empty. By lunch, rumors are flying through the school's hallways like wildfire. Something about the judge's campaign finances being investigated, about irregularities in his accounts that somehow found their way to certain journalists. Victoria's friends look shaken, huddling together and whispering anxiously. their usual confidence replaced by genuine fear. Mr. Harrison holds Alex back after computer science, waiting until the other students leave. "I noticed some interesting code in the security project you submitted," he says carefully, his eyes studying her face. "It reminds me of something I saw years ago at another school, something that ended badly." His eyes meet hers meaningfully. "Be careful about leaving signatures in your work. Some patterns are recognizable." As Alex leaves the classroom, her phone buzzes one final time. "You've made your point. Meet me on the roof after school. Time to talk about what really happened to Maya." The message seems to pulse on her screen, demanding attention. Alex stares at the message, heart pounding against her ribs. The game she started is spinning out of control, threads of past and present tangling dangerously. She's planned for every contingency, mapped out every possible outcome, except perhaps the most important one. What happens when the truth finally comes out? Because Alex Foster isn't just fighting back against bullies. She's setting in motion a chain of events that will expose secrets far darker than high school harassment. And someone knows exactly who she is, and what she did at Riverside Academy 2 years ago. The school rooftop is eerily quiet after hours, the setting sun casting long shadows across the concrete. Alex arrives early, checking every corner before positioning herself near the exit. Years of careful planning have taught her never to trust mysterious meetups, no matter how urgent they seem. Her phone buzzes again. "Look behind the ventilation unit." Alex approaches cautiously, finding a worn manila envelope. Inside is a newspaper clipping from 2 years ago. "Riverside Academy student missing after cybersecurity breach." The article features a photo of Maya Chen, her face hauntingly familiar. Alex's hands tremble as she reads, memories flooding back of that terrible night. "It's amazing how history repeats itself," a voice says behind her. Alex spins to find Marcus Wong stepping out of the shadows. Different school, different names, but the same pattern. He holds up his phone, displaying lines of code that Alex instantly recognizes. Her code from the DataFix basement. "How did you—" Alex starts, but Marcus cuts her off. "I was at Riverside too," he says quietly. "Not as a student. I was consulting on their security system when everything went wrong, when Maya disappeared." He steps closer, lowering his voice, "and when Alexandra Chen vanished the same night only to reappear months later as Alex Foster." Before Alex can respond, the rooftop door bursts open. Victoria storms through, her face a mask of fury, followed by her father, Judge Shaw himself. "There she is," Victoria spits, "the one who hacked our systems." The judge's presence is imposing, his expensive suit and commanding stance designed to intimidate. "Young lady, do you understand the severity of what you've done? Cyber attacks against a political campaign are federal crimes." Alex backs away, mind racing. This confrontation wasn't part of her plan, not yet. But Marcus steps forward, smoothly inserting himself into the situation. "Actually, Judge Shaw, I think you'll want to hear this. It involves Riverside Academy, and your connection to it." The judge's face changes subtly. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The donations?" Marcus prompts. "The ones that disappeared the same night as Maya? The ones that trace back to your campaign fund?" Meanwhile, in the computer lab below, Danny works frantically at a terminal. He'd followed Alex to school, worried about her recent behavior. Now his fingers fly across the keyboard, uploading something to the school's network. Come on, he mutters. Back on the roof, Victoria's phone chimes, then the judge's, then every device in the vicinity. A video begins playing automatically, security footage from Riverside Academy, showing Maya Chen entering the school's computer lab late at night. Then another figure enters, a younger Victoria Shaw. "Turn it off," the judge demands, but nobody moves. The footage continues, showing an argument, a struggle. Maya falling, hitting her head. Victoria panicking. Then a phone call, the judge himself arriving, taking control of the situation. "Where did you get this?" Victoria whispers, all color drained from her face. "Maya was my sister," Alex says quietly. And I was there that night too, in the server room next door, helping her expose the truth about the missing scholarship funds, about how they were being funneled into certain political campaigns. Her eyes lock with the judge's. When she found proof, she confronted Victoria. But things went wrong, didn't they? The judge straightens his tie, composure cracking slightly. Whatever you think you know is already being streamed to every news outlet in the state, Marcus interrupts, holding up his phone, along with the financial records Maya found that night, the ones Alex has been carefully gathering evidence about ever since. Sarah bursts through the roof door, followed by Mr. Harrison and several police officers. "Alex!" she calls out, relief evident in her voice. "Police received an anonymous tip about some interesting files," Mr. Harrison explains, looking pointedly at the judge. "Files that shed new light on a 2-year-old case." As the officers begin reading rights and taking statements, Victoria stares at Alex with a mixture of fear and disbelief. "You planned all of this? Just to get back at me?" "No," Alex responds, watching as her carefully constructed revenge plot finally comes together. "I did it for Maya, and for every other student who suffered while people in power looked the other way." Later that evening, as reporters swarm the school and social media explodes with the story, Alex sits quietly in the DataFix basement. The screens around her display news coverage, police reports, and financial records, the culmination of 2 years of patient planning. Danny joins her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Maya would be proud," he says softly. "She was right about the corruption, about everything." Alex nods, tears finally falling freely. "I just wish." She starts, but can't finish. Her phone buzzes one last time. A message from Marcus. "Maya's case is being reopened. The truth is finally coming out. You did it." Alex leans back, exhausted, but satisfied. The quiet girl everyone underestimated had finally shown her true strength. Victoria and her father would face justice, and Maya's story would finally be told. But as she stares at the screens around her, Alex wonders if bringing down the bullies was just the beginning. Because somewhere in all that data and all those files, there might be more secrets waiting to be uncovered, more wrongs waiting to be righted. The morning after the rooftop confrontation, St. Catherine's Preparatory School is unrecognizable. News vans line the street, reporters clutching microphones cluster at the gates, and police officers patrol the grounds. Students whisper in huddles, smartphones displaying headlines about Judge Shaw's arrest and Victoria's involvement in the Riverside Academy incident. Alex walks through the chaos like a ghost, aware of the stares and whispers following her. The same students who once ignored her torment now look at her with a mixture of awe and fear. Her phone hasn't stopped buzzing since dawn. Journalists seeking interviews, lawyers requesting statements, and countless messages from unknown numbers either praising or threatening her. In first period, Victoria's empty seat speaks volumes. Madison and Rachel sit apart from each other, their once unified front shattered. When Alex enters, Rachel actually flinches. The power dynamics have shifted so dramatically it's almost dizzying. "Alex," Mr. Harrison calls out after class, "the police need you to come down to the station again. There are some complications with the case." His expression is troubled. They found something else in the Riverside records. At the police station, Detective Maya Chen, no relation to Maya, but the bitter irony of the shared surname doesn't escape Alex, slides a file across the table. "We found these in Judge Shaw's private server. They're emails between him and several other prominent figures, discussing something called Project Lighthouse." Alex's blood runs cold. She knows that name. Maya had mentioned it the night she disappeared, just before everything went wrong. The detective continues. The donations weren't just going to campaign funds. They were funding something much bigger. Back at school, Marcus finds Alex in the computer lab during lunch. "You need to see this," he says, pulling up what looks like encrypted files. "I've been digging deeper into the code you used to expose the judge. There's something hidden in it. Something I think Maya left behind." As they work to decrypt the files, Danny calls from DataFix. "Alex, someone broke in last night. The basement's trashed. All your equipment." They knew exactly what they were looking for. Sarah Mitchell arrives at school, her face pale. "Pack your things," she tells Alex. "It's not safe here anymore. There are people asking questions, dangerous people. Project Lighthouse wasn't just about money laundering. It was about—" A loud commotion in the hallway cuts her off. Victoria Shaw stands there escorted by 2 police officers, but something's different. Her usual confidence is gone, replaced by genuine fear. Her eyes lock with Alex's. "They're coming," she says, voice shaking. "The people my father worked for. They know what Maya found, what you found." Mr. Harrison appears, ushering them into his classroom and locking the door. "I should have realized sooner," he says, rapidly typing on his computer. "Project Lighthouse. It was never about the schools. The schools were just fronts for something bigger, something international." Alex's laptop pings. The decryption is complete. Maya's hidden files spill their secrets across the screen. Shell companies, offshore accounts, and a web of connections leading to places far darker than simple embezzlement. This wasn't just about bullying or revenge anymore. Maya had stumbled onto something massive, something that got her killed. "We need to go," Sarah insists, but Alex stands firm. "No," she says, fingers flying across her keyboard. "Maya died trying to expose this. I won't run." She looks at Victoria. "You know more than you're saying, about that night, about what Maya really found." Victoria sinks into a chair, the last of her facade crumbling. "I didn't mean for her to get hurt," she whispers. "She tried to warn me about what my father was involved in. I didn't believe her. But then I saw the files, saw the names involved. These people, they're not just politicians or businessmen. They're—" The lights in the school suddenly cut out. Emergency alarms begin blaring. Mr. Harrison's computer screen flashes with a warning. "Security breach." "They're here," Victoria says, panic rising in her voice. "The people behind Project Lighthouse. They're coming to clean up the loose ends." Alex makes a decision. "Marcus, get those files to every news outlet you can. Danny, initiate Protocol Maya. You know the one. Mr. Harrison, get Victoria and Sarah somewhere safe." She pulls out a small device from her bag, something she built in the DataFix basement long ago, preparing for this moment. "What are you going to do?" Sarah asks, afraid of the answer. Alex's fingers hover over the device. What Maya would have done. What she died trying to do. She looks at the scared faces around her, remembering how this all started, with a bullied girl seeking justice. But now the stakes were infinitely higher. "The truth about Project Lighthouse needs to come out," she says firmly, "and this time they won't be able to silence it." As footsteps echo in the darkened hallway, Alex realizes that exposing Victoria's bullying and the judge's corruption was just the beginning. The real fight, the one Maya gave her life for, was about to begin. The school's emergency lights cast an eerie red glow through the darkened hallways. Alex's fingers dance across her laptop keyboard while Mr. Harrison barricades the classroom door. Outside, heavy footsteps echo from multiple directions. Professional, coordinated, closing in. "The files are uploading," Marcus announces, his own laptop displaying progress bars. "But they're trying to block the transmission. These aren't normal hackers, Alex. This is military-grade cybersecurity." Victoria hugs herself in the corner, shaking. "My father said Project Lighthouse was about educational reform, about identifying promising students for special programs. I never knew." She trails off as another set of footsteps passes the door. "That's what they told everyone," Mr. Harrison says grimly, checking his phone. "But I've seen this before, at my last school before Riverside. They called it talent acquisition then. Students would be selected for elite programs, then disappear into private institutions. Their families were paid off or threatened into silence." Sarah grips Alex's shoulder. "Maya figured it out, didn't she? That's why she was in the computer lab that night." Alex nods, never taking her eyes off the screen. She found evidence that Project Lighthouse was screening students for something else. Their cybersecurity skills, their problem-solving abilities, their capacity for deception. They were building some kind of specialized recruitment program. Maya was going to expose everything, but she needed proof from Victoria's father's servers. The night she died, Victoria whispers, she showed me files, names of students who'd been recruited, their new identities, their assignments. Some were working for intelligence agencies, others for private military contractors, all of them under 18. I thought she was lying, trying to cause trouble for my father's campaign. Danny's voice crackles through Alex's phone. Alex, I'm in the DataFix security system. 3 black SUVs just pulled up outside. These guys are professional. Tactical gear, radio communications. Keep the upload going, Alex commands, pulling out her custom device. Once the files are public, they can't contain this anymore. She looks at Victoria. I need the password to your father's private server, the one he made you memorize just in case. Victoria hesitates, then straightens. Maya tried to help me see the truth and I let her die. I won't make the same mistake again. She recites a long string of characters. Alex enters the password and new files flood her screen. Project Lighthouse wasn't just operating in America. It had branches in schools across the globe. Thousands of gifted students identified, groomed, and recruited for their skills. Some for cyber warfare, others for psychological operations. A shadow army of teenagers trained to exploit the digital world. Suddenly, the classroom door handle jiggles. Everyone freezes. Time's up, a cold voice calls from the hallway. We know you have the files. This can end one of 2 ways. Mr. Harrison moves to the front of the group, positioning himself between his students and the door. There's a maintenance tunnel, he whispers, behind the supply closet. It leads to the boiler room. 10 seconds to open the door, the voice continues. Alex makes a split-second decision. Marcus, take my laptop and the others. Keep the upload going. I'll buy you time. She hands him her device. If anything happens to me, press this button. It'll activate Maya's final failsafe. Alex, no, Sarah pleads, but Alex is already moving to the door. I'm done running, she says firmly. Maya died standing up to them. It's time they learned they can't keep silencing people. The door handle turns again. Alex nods to Mr. Harrison, who quickly guides the others toward the supply closet. Victoria pauses before following. I'm sorry, she says softly, for everything. Make it right, Alex responds. Help expose them. As the supply closet door clicks shut, Alex takes a deep breath and faces the classroom door. The handle turns one final time. Project Lighthouse ends today, she says loudly. Maya made sure of that. The door bursts open, revealing men in tactical gear. But Alex Foster, the quiet scholarship student, the bullied girl, the secret keeper, isn't afraid anymore. Because now she has something more powerful than their weapons or their threats. She has the truth, and this time the world will know it. Behind her, Marcus's laptop pings. Upload complete. Somewhere in the digital void, Maya's final message begins spreading across the internet, impossible to contain or deny. The dominoes Maya set up 2 years ago are finally falling, and no amount of money or power can stop them now. The men enter the room, weapons raised, but Alex just smiles. Sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest acts of courage, like a bullied girl deciding to fight back. The tactical team surrounds Alex, their movements precise and practiced. Their black uniforms seem to absorb the red emergency lighting, creating shifting shadows that make their numbers seem even greater. Their leader, a stern-faced woman in a charcoal business suit and steel-rimmed glasses, steps forward. Her heels click purposefully against the classroom floor as she approaches. Alexandra Chen, she says, using Alex's real name, her voice carrying the confidence of someone used to being obeyed. Or should I say, recruit number 219? You were one of our most promising candidates at Riverside. Your test scores were extraordinary. She pulls out a tablet, displaying Alex's old student profile. Perfect aptitude for deception and digital infiltration. Alex's mind races. She needs to keep them talking, give the others time to escape. The weight of her earpiece provides small comfort, her only connection to the outside world. Is that why you killed Maya? Because she discovered your recruitment program? Or because she refused to be part of it? Maya Chen wasn't supposed to die, the woman responds coldly, adjusting her glasses with manicured fingers. She was meant to be our star recruit. Her psychological profile was ideal, brilliant, ambitious, with just enough moral flexibility. Her death was unfortunate, just like your apparent death will be, unless you cooperate. Through her earpiece, Alex hears Danny's voice from Data Fix, slightly breathless with excitement. The files are spreading faster than they can contain them. Twitter, Reddit, major news networks. It's everywhere. Project Lighthouse is trending worldwide. They're trying to shut down servers, but it's too late. The encryption is too strong. The woman's phone buzzes. An expensive model with government-grade security. Her expression tightens as she reads the message, the first crack in her professional veneer. "Do you understand what you've done?" she demands, her voice rising slightly. These children were being trained to protect national security, to fight in the digital wars of tomorrow. We were creating the next generation of cyber warriors. You were exploiting them, Alex counters, taking a step forward despite the weapons trained on her. Turned into weapons before they were old enough to drive. Maya saw the truth. You weren't protecting anyone. You were building an army of child soldiers for the highest bidder. We found the offshore accounts, the private contracts. This wasn't about national security. It was about profit. Meanwhile, in the dark maintenance tunnel, Marcus continues the upload from Alex's laptop. The screens glow, illuminating the concerned faces around him. Victoria watches the progress bar with trembling hands, mascara streaked from earlier tears. My father. He knew about all of this? Every student who disappeared? He was a recruiter, Mr. Harrison explains quietly, keeping his voice low despite the thick walls surrounding them. Finding vulnerable students with special talents, making their problems disappear in exchange for their cooperation. The bullying, the social isolation, it wasn't random. They were identifying potential recruits who could be manipulated into joining the program. Sarah clutches Maya's final failsafe device, her knuckles white against the black metal. We have to go back for her. She's facing them alone. Her voice catches with emotion. Alex knew this might happen, Marcus says, typing furiously as warning messages pop up on his screen. She's been planning for it since Riverside, since the night Maya died. Every move, every piece of evidence, it was all leading to this moment. Back in the classroom, the tactical team receives new orders through their earpieces. The woman's face hardens as she listens, her last pretense of negotiation vanishing. Terminate the leak, clean sweep protocol, no witnesses. But Alex stands her ground, a slight smile playing at her lips. Check your phones, she tells them. All of them. Right now. Her confidence makes them pause. The team members hesitate, sharing uncertain glances, then pull out their devices. Each screen displays the same message, glowing accusingly in the dim light. Project Lighthouse exposed. Full data dump in progress. Authorized by Maya Chen. The truth cannot be buried. Impossible, the woman breathes, her own phone displaying the same message. Maya Chen is dead. We confirmed it ourselves. Maya knew they might kill her, Alex reveals, her voice strong with purpose. So she created a digital dead man switch. If she didn't enter a code every 24 hours, everything she discovered would automatically upload to secure servers worldwide. When she died, the countdown began. That was 2 years ago, the woman says dismissively, but uncertainty creeps into her tone. And I've been maintaining the switch ever since, Alex continues, moving to sit casually on a nearby desk. Adding more evidence, building the case. Maya died trying to expose you, but she made sure the truth would come out no matter what. I just had to find the right moment to let it happen, to finish what she started. Suddenly, the school's sprinkler system activates, spraying water everywhere. Emergency exits burst open as Danny triggers the fire alarm remotely. Through the chaos, Alex can hear sirens approaching. Real police this time, responding to the security breach alerts. The sound of multiple vehicles screeching to a halt outside echoes through the building. It's over, Alex declares, water streaming down her face, making her look both vulnerable and somehow more determined. Maya won. Project Lighthouse is finished. The truth is out there, and no amount of money or power can hide it anymore. The woman raises her hand, preparing to give the order to her team, But then multiple news helicopters appear outside the windows, their spotlights cutting through the darkness, illuminating the scene in harsh white light. Police megaphones echo through the building. "This is the FBI. The building is surrounded. Come out with your hands up." In the tunnel, Victoria makes a decision. She grabs the laptop from Marcus, her face set with newfound determination. "I have to make this right," she calls over her shoulder, already running back toward the classroom. "Maya tried to help me see the truth once. I won't fail her again." Sarah and Mr. Harrison follow, leaving Marcus to protect the fail-safe device. They emerge into the chaos just as Victoria bursts into the classroom, holding the laptop high like a shield. "I confess," she shouts toward the news helicopters hovering outside the windows. "My father ran Project Lighthouse. I saw everything. I have proof, and I'm ready to testify." The tactical team's discipline wavers as they realize their options are disappearing. They know that with Victoria's testimony and the leaked files, there's no containing this anymore. The woman looks at Alex with a mixture of rage and respect. "You played us perfectly," she admits, lowering her hand. "Used Victoria's bullying as cover while you gathered evidence, made everyone underestimate you, just like we trained our recruits to do." "No," Alex corrects her, standing tall despite her soaked uniform. "Like Maya taught me to do. She was the real hero. I just finished what she started." The next hour becomes a blur of flashing lights, federal agents, and media chaos. St. Catherine's Preparatory School transforms into a crime scene as FBI cybercrimes units sweep through the building. In the principal's office, now commandeered as a temporary command center, Alex sits across from Special Agent Diana Torres, watching as years of carefully gathered evidence unfolds on multiple screens. "We've been tracking Project Lighthouse for months," Agent Torres explains, spreading out documents across the desk. "But we could never get concrete proof. They were too careful, too connected. Until now." She looks at Alex with a mixture of admiration and concern. "You do realize they'll come after you with everything they have?" Before Alex can respond, Victoria bursts into the office, followed by her mother and a team of lawyers. Mrs. Shaw looks nothing like her usual polished self. Her designer outfit is rumpled, her makeup streaked with tears. "Victoria will tell you everything," she announces, her voice shaking. "About her father, about Project Lighthouse, about Maya Chen. But we want protection." In the hallway outside, Marcus works with the FBI's tech team, explaining the intricate web of evidence he and Alex have uncovered. The program wasn't just about recruiting talented students, he explains, pulling up detailed files. They were using schools like St. Catherine's and Riverside as testing grounds. The bullying, the social isolation. It was all carefully orchestrated to identify potential recruits. Sarah paces nearby, arguing with Child Protective Services about Alex's status. "She's still a minor," the social worker insists. "Given the circumstances, we need to place her in protective custody." "I'm her legal guardian," Sarah counters fiercely. "The only reason she's alive is because I helped her disappear after Riverside. I won't lose her again." Meanwhile, Danny arrives from Data Fix, carrying Alex's salvaged equipment from the basement. "They tried to destroy everything," he tells her quietly. "But they didn't find your offshore backups. Maya's failsafe is still running, still releasing new files every hour." The woman who led the tactical team, now identified as Dr. Elizabeth Warner, Project Lighthouse's head of recruitment, sits handcuffed in a classroom being interviewed by federal agents. "You don't understand what you've done," she tells Alex as she passes. "The world needs programs like ours. The next war won't be fought with guns. It won't be fought by children either," Alex responds firmly. Mr. Harrison appears with his own revelations. "I wasn't just a teacher at Riverside," he admits to Agent Torres. "I was investigating the program. But after Maya died, all my evidence disappeared. They were too powerful." Victoria, sitting alone in the cafeteria, looks up as Alex approaches. The former Bullies' designer clothes are still wet from the sprinklers, her carefully maintained image completely undone. "I found more files on my father's home server," she says, holding out a flash drive. "Instructions for identifying potential recruits, psychological profiles, lists of students they were targeting here at St. Catherine's." Alex takes the drive, remembering how different things were just days ago. "Why did you really do it?" she asks. The bullying, the torment. Was it all just part of their program? Victoria's hands shake as she wraps them around a paper coffee cup. At first, it was just fun. Power. Control. Then after Maya died, Daddy explained how important it was to maintain the social hierarchy, to help identify special students who could handle pressure. She looks up, eyes red. I became their tool without even realizing it. Suddenly, the school's power goes out again. But this time, it's different. Every screen in the building lights up with the same message. Protocol Alpha initiated. Purge commencing. They're trying to wipe everything, Marcus shouts from the tech hub. It's a kill switch. But Alex is already moving. She pulls out her phone, typing rapidly. Maya thought they might try this, that's why she built a trap into the failsafe. Her fingers fly across the screen. Every attempt to erase the files creates 10 more copies, scattered across different servers. The FBI tech team watches in amazement as their screens fill with duplicating files. Project Lighthouse's final attempt to hide the truth is becoming their ultimate exposure. Agent Torres receives an urgent call. They found Judge Shaw, she announces. He's agreed to talk, says he wants to make a deal. But Alex barely hears her. She's staring at a new message on her phone. Meeting in progress. Final Lighthouse protocol. Containment failed. Initiating Omega response. What's Omega response? Sarah asks, seeing Alex's expression change. I don't know, Alex admits. But Maya's last message mentioned it. She seemed scared. Victoria goes pale. I heard my father mention it once. He said it was their last resort. Their way of making everything disappear. As if on cue, every agent's radio crackles with urgent reports. Multiple break-ins reported at schools across the country. More Project Lighthouse facilities going dark. And a name, repeated with growing concern. Ghost protocol activated. Alex looks at the chaos around her. Federal agents, former bullies, exposed conspiracies, and realizes that exposing Project Lighthouse wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of something much bigger and much more dangerous. Because somewhere out there, the real powers behind Project Lighthouse are preparing their final move. And this time, they're not just trying to silence one person. They're ready to burn down their entire network to keep their ultimate secret hidden. The FBI command center erupts into chaos as reports flood in from across the country. 6 more schools compromised, an agent calls out. All former Project Lighthouse recruitment centers. Screens display security footage of masked figures breaking into computer labs, downloading data, then destroying equipment. It's a purge, Marcus explains, tracking the attacks on his laptop. They're not just erasing evidence. They're eliminating every trace of their operation. And anyone who might expose them. His screen flashes with new alerts. They're targeting former recruits, potential witnesses, anyone connected to the program. Alex works furiously at her own computer, trying to counter the digital assault. This isn't just about Maya's evidence anymore, she realizes. Ghost Protocol is activating sleeper agents, students who were successfully recruited and planted in key positions. Victoria rushes in, clutching her phone. My father just called from custody. He's terrified. Says we don't understand what Omega Response really means. She plays a recording of the judge's voice, trembling with fear. They're not just going to kill the program, they're going to kill everyone who knows about it. Agent Torres mobilizes her team. We need to evacuate the building. Now get everyone to secure locations. But as agents move toward the exits, all doors suddenly lock electronically. The school's security system has been hijacked. We're trapped, Sarah says, trying unsuccessfully to override the locks. They've turned the school into a cage. Mr. Harrison studies the security protocols on a terminal. These overrides. They're not coming from outside. Someone inside the school activated them. All eyes turn to Dr. Warner, but the interrogation room is empty. Somehow she's escaped. Danny's voice crackles through Alex's earpiece. Alex, you need to see this. The data-fix security cameras caught something. He sends footage showing Dr. Warner meeting with someone the night before, someone whose face makes Alex's blood run cold. "That's impossible," she whispers. "She's dead. We all saw the body." The figure in the footage turns toward the camera, revealing Maya Chen's face. "She's alive," Victoria breathes. "But how? Why?" Before anyone can respond, every computer screen in the building displays the same image: Maya Chen, very much alive, sitting in what appears to be a control room. "Hello, little sister," she says, looking directly at Alex. "I knew you'd figure it out eventually. You always were the smart one." "Maya, what did you do?" Alex asks, her voice shaking. "What they trained me to do," Maya responds coldly. "What you were supposed to do too. Project Lighthouse wasn't about recruiting children. It was about creating them, building the perfect agents from the ground up, and it worked." The truth hits Alex like a physical blow. The bullying, the isolation. It wasn't just about identifying recruits. It was about breaking them, making them desperate enough to accept the program's conditioning. "And you passed every test," Maya continues, "even after you thought I died, especially after that. My death was your final exam, and you performed beautifully. The revenge plot, the evidence gathering, all of it proved you were ready." Victoria steps forward. "Ready for what?" "Ascension," Dr. Warner's voice comes from behind them. She stands in the doorway, now wearing tactical gear instead of her business suit. The final phase of their training, when they realize their true purpose. Alex's mind races, connecting dots she should have seen before. The failsafe wasn't about exposing Project Lighthouse. It was about identifying everyone who might resist the program. And now we clean house, Maya confirms. Omega Response isn't about erasing evidence. It's about activating all our sleeper agents simultaneously, taking control of key systems, eliminating potential threats, and establishing our new order. The screens fill with footage from across the country, schools, government offices, corporate headquarters, all experiencing simultaneous security breaches. The Ghost Protocol wasn't trying to hide Project Lighthouse's existence. It was initiating their ultimate plan. "You don't have to do this," Alex pleads with her sister. "We can expose them, stop them." "Stop us?" Maya laughs. "Little sister, we are them. This was always the plan, and now you have a choice. Join us willingly, or we'll proceed with your termination protocol." The air vents begin hissing. Some kind of gas is being pumped into the building. Agent Torres and her team collapse first, followed by the other adults. Only Alex, Victoria, and Marcus remain conscious. The 3 students Project Lighthouse had marked as potential recruits. "Last chance, Alex," Maya's voice echoes through the speakers. "The bullies didn't realize they were messing with the wrong girl, but neither did you. The question is, are you ready to become who you were always meant to be?" Alex looks at the unconscious bodies around her, at the chaos unfolding on the screens, at the sister she thought she lost. Everything she believed about Project Lighthouse, about Maya's death, about her own mission of revenge was wrong. And now she has to make an impossible choice: join the very conspiracy she fought to expose, or watch everyone she tried to protect die. The gas continues to fill the room as Maya waits for her answer. The true game is only just beginning. The gas continues to fill the command center as Alex stares at her sister's face on the screen, her mind racing through possibilities. Maya, alive, transformed, and apparently leading the very organization they had fought against. But something doesn't add up. "You made one mistake," Alex says, pulling out her custom device. The real Maya would have remembered. "Remembered what?" the woman on the screen demands, her confidence wavering slightly. "The code we created, the night before you died. Our failsafe within the failsafe." Alex's fingers fly across the keypad. The real Maya knew we'd planned for exactly this scenario. Victoria and Marcus watch in confusion as Alex types a complex sequence, one that makes every screen in the building flicker. The woman claiming to be Maya suddenly looks uncertain. "Impossible," Dr. Warner says. "We scrubbed all her memories. The conditioning was perfect." "Was it?" Alex asks. She holds up her phone, displaying an old text message. "If they try to turn me, remember Protocol Phoenix. The date. The night Maya disappeared. The gas vents suddenly reverse, drawing the knockout agent back into the ventilation system. Emergency generators kick in, restoring power to the building, and every screen fills with new code, Maya's real fail-safe program. "You didn't break Maya," Alex announces. "You tried to replicate her, but you couldn't copy what you didn't understand." She turns to the woman on the screen. "You're not my sister. You're a psychological construct implanted in someone else. Probably another recruit they tried to mold into Maya's image." The false Maya's face contorts with rage. "Kill them all," she orders. "Initiate total purge." But her image dissolves, replaced by scrolling data. The real Maya's program begins systematically dismantling Project Lighthouse's network, targeting their actual command structure, not the decoy sites they'd revealed earlier. The bullying, the recruitment, even my revenge plot, Alex explains to Victoria and Marcus as they help revive the others. It was all a smokescreen. Maya discovered their real operation was much bigger. They weren't just recruiting talented students. They were replacing influential people with conditioned duplicates, creating a shadow network of controlled agents. Agent Torres regains consciousness, immediately grasping her weapon. "How long have you known?" "Since I found Maya's real files at Riverside," Alex admits. "She left them for me, hidden where only I would look. The Project Lighthouse we exposed was just their cover story. The real operation was called Project Echo, personality replacement on a massive scale." Dr. Warner makes a break for the door but finds herself facing Mr. Harrison, who reveals his own FBI badge. "We've been investigating Project Echo for years," he explains. "But we needed someone on the inside to activate Maya's program, someone they would underestimate." Sarah helps Victoria stand as federal agents flood the building. The bullying wasn't just about identifying recruits, Victoria realizes. It was about creating cover stories, hiding their real operations in plain sight. "And now their entire network is being exposed," Marcus announces, watching his screens. Maya's program is identifying every Echo agent, every compromised system. The real Ghost protocol wasn't their failsafe. It was Maya's. The false Maya makes one last appearance on the screens, her image breaking up. "You don't understand what you've done," she snarls. "The world needs us. Without Project Echo, without controlled agents in key positions." "The world will have to manage with actual people," Alex interrupts, "making their own choices, like Maya did when she chose to stop you." Reports pour in from across the country. Echo agents being arrested, replaced officials being discovered, an entire shadow network, years in the making, crumbling because they underestimated one quiet girl's determination to expose the truth. Victoria approaches Alex as the FBI secures the scene. "I really was horrible to you," she says quietly, "but you didn't just get revenge. You dismantled an entire conspiracy." "Maya taught me that revenge isn't about hurting people," Alex responds. "It's about exposing the truth. All of it." She looks at her phone, at Maya's last message. She's still out there somewhere, the real Maya. Once she planted the program, she had to disappear completely. But someday... Agent Torres interrupts with urgent news. "We found their primary conditioning facility. And Alex, there are survivors. People they tried to turn into duplicates. Some might know where Maya is." As the sun rises over St. Catherine's Preparatory School, Alex watches federal agents lead Dr. Warner away. The woman who thought she could break students and remake them into perfect agents now faces a very different future. "What happens now?" Sarah asks, putting an arm around Alex's shoulders. Alex looks at the school, at the former bullies and hidden agents and secret programs all exposed to the light. "Now we make sure this never happens again. Maya showed us how to fight back, not with violence or revenge, but with truth. Because sometimes the quiet ones, the underestimated ones, are the ones who change everything, not by becoming what their tormentors wanted them to be, but by staying true to themselves and exposing those who would try to break them." 1 month after the exposure of Project Echo, St. Catherine's Preparatory School looks remarkably normal from the outside. Students hurry to class, gossip in the hallways, and worry about upcoming tests. But beneath the surface, everything has changed. Alex sits in computer science class, no longer hiding her skills. Her latest project, a sophisticated security system for the school's new network, draws admiring looks from classmates who once ignored or tormented her. Even more surprising is her new project partner, Victoria Shaw. The FBI found 3 more Echo facilities yesterday, Victoria whispers as they work. Dad's testimony helped them locate the conditioning centers. Her father, facing multiple federal charges, chose to cooperate fully after the program's exposure. His information has proven invaluable in dismantling the remaining Echo infrastructure. After class, Mr. Harrison, now officially revealed as FBI Special Agent Harrison, updates them on the ongoing investigation. We've identified over 200 Echo agents in positions of power, he explains. Corporate CEOs, government officials, even school administrators. The scale of the infiltration was staggering. Any sign of Maya? Alex asks, trying to keep her voice steady. It's the same question she asks every day. Nothing concrete, he admits. But we found this in their latest facility. He hands her a burned notebook. Inside, in Maya's distinctive handwriting, Protocol Phoenix complete. The truth will set us all free. In the cafeteria, the social hierarchy that once ruled St. Catherine's has crumbled. Victoria's former followers now sit scattered throughout the room, many still processing their unwitting role in Project Echo's schemes. Madison and Rachel have become vocal advocates for anti-bullying programs, understanding now how their actions played into the larger conspiracy. It's weird, Marcus comments, joining Alex's table with his laptop. Everyone thought the bullies were just being cruel. Nobody realized they were part of something bigger. His computer displays news coverage of the ongoing Echo revelations. Each day brings new discoveries, new arrests, new understanding of how deep the manipulation went. Danny visits from DataFix, bringing equipment salvaged from the basement. The shop's being converted into a cybersecurity training center, he announces. The FBI wants to teach students to protect themselves from digital manipulation. They're calling it the Phoenix program. Maya would have liked that. Sarah arrives to pick up Alex, but now it's for a different reason. As part of the investigation, they're visiting another recovered Echo facility. They found more records, she explains as they drive. Files about the early recruitment process, about how they chose their targets. The facility is a stark concrete building disguised as a private school. Inside, federal agents sift through years of documentation. Agent Torres greets them with new information. We found their initial testing protocols, she says, the psychological profiles they use to identify potential recruits. And Alex, you and Maya weren't random targets. She shows them a file dated years before Project Echo began. It contains detailed observations of 2 young sisters, Alexandra and Maya Chen. They were watching you both since elementary school, Torres explains. Your intelligence, your resilience, your bond as sisters, they saw you as perfect candidates for their program. Victoria meets them at the facility, her own role in the investigation now official. The bullying wasn't random either, she adds. They gave us profiles, suggestions, specific students to target. We thought we were just being mean girls, but we were their tools, their way of testing potential recruits. As they explore the facility, Alex finds a room filled with computers. Each screen still displays the Echo Protocol interface, the system Maya's program destroyed. She knew what they were planning, Alex realizes. Not just the recruitment, not just the conditioning, but the entire replacement program. That's why she had to make them think she was dead. Sarah puts a comforting hand on her shoulder. Your sister did what she had to do. She protected you the only way she could. Later that evening, as Alex works on her laptop at home, she receives a message from an encrypted source. Phoenix protocol successful. Network exposed. Now the real work begins. Below it, a line of code only she and Maya would recognize. Their childhood secret message system. She's really alive, Alex whispers, tears falling onto her keyboard. And she's still fighting. Victoria calls with more news. They found Dr. Warner's private files. The Echo agents weren't just replacements. They were meant to be the first wave. They were planning to expand the program globally, targeting schools worldwide. But they didn't count on one thing, Marcus adds on the group chat. They didn't realize that sometimes the people they try to break become stronger, that the quiet ones, the bullied ones, might be the ones who finally stop them. Alex looks at her wall of evidence, now transformed into a memorial of sorts. Pictures of Maya, their coded messages, the plans they made together, all leading to this moment. The bullies never realized they were messing with the wrong girl, but more importantly, the people behind Project Echo never understood what they were really creating. Not perfect agents, but perfect resistance. Because sometimes the greatest power isn't in breaking people, but in showing them how to stay whole, how to fight back, how to expose the truth. And somewhere out there, Maya Chen is still working, still planning, still protecting others from the fate she barely escaped. The quiet girl who everyone underestimated became the one who changed everything. 6 months after the fall of Project Echo, Alex stands at the podium of St. Catherine's Preparatory School's auditorium. The room is packed with students, reporters, and federal agents as she presents the newly established Phoenix Foundation, an organization dedicated to protecting students from exploitation and manipulation. What started as a story about bullying revealed something much darker, she begins, her voice steady. But it also showed us something powerful, that those who are underestimated often have the greatest capacity for change. Her eyes meet Victoria's in the crowd, who nods encouragingly. The foundation, funded by seized Project Echo assets, has already established programs in schools across the country. Victoria, transformed from bully to advocate, leads their peer support initiative. Marcus heads their cybersecurity training division, teaching students to protect themselves in the digital age. After the presentation, Agent Torres shares the latest investigation updates. We've identified 90% of the Echo agents, she reports. The conditioning is being reversed, their victims receiving proper care. Judge Shaw's testimony was crucial. He's being moved to witness protection next week. Mr. Harrison, now the Foundation's security advisor, brings more news. The International Task Force found Echo facilities in 12 countries. They were planning a global implementation within 5 years. If Maya hadn't created Protocol Phoenix... Speaking of Maya, Sarah interjects gently, there's something you need to see. In the computer lab, they show Alex a video discovered in the latest raid. It shows Maya recorded shortly before her death, speaking directly to the camera. If you're watching this, Alex, it means Protocol Phoenix worked. You exposed them, but our work isn't finished. Project Echo was just one program. There are others out there, different names, same goals. That's why I had to disappear, to fight them from the shadows. Alex touches the screen, her sister's face so close yet still out of reach. Will I ever see her again? When it's safe, Victoria says softly, when we've found all the other programs. Danny arrives from the new Phoenix Center. The converted Data Fix building now serves as their technical headquarters. You need to see this, he says urgently, pulling up his tablet. We found something in the old Echo files, lists of other projects, other schools. They were building a network, bigger than we imagined. The screens fill with code names, Project Mirror, Project Shade, Project Cipher, each representing another program designed to manipulate and control young minds. But now they have something they didn't have before. Knowledge, awareness, and a network of their own to fight back. Maya knew, Alex realizes. She knew Echo was just the beginning. That's why she created the Foundation's framework before she disappeared. She was giving us the tools to continue the fight. Later that evening, at a small celebration in Sarah's apartment, Alex's former classmates gathered to mark their new beginning. Madison and Rachel, once Victoria's loyal followers, now help train students to recognize manipulation tactics. The former bullies have become protectors, using their experience to prevent others from being used as they were. Sometimes I still can't believe it, Victoria admits quietly to Alex. How we were all just pieces in their game. The bullying, the social hierarchy, everything designed to identify potential recruits and break down resistance. But they didn't count on one thing, Alex responds. They didn't realize that sometimes breaking someone makes them strong enough to break the whole system. Her phone buzzes with an encrypted message. Phase 2 beginning. Keep watching the quiet ones. M. Below it, a series of coordinates and dates, new targets, new programs to expose. Ready for another fight? Marcus asks, noticing her expression. Alex looks around at her unlikely team, former bullies turned allies, quiet students turned cyber warriors, broken victims turned powerful advocates. We all are, she answers, because now we know. It's not about revenge, it's about protection, about making sure no one else goes through what we did. The sun sets over St. Catherine's Preparatory School, its shadows no longer hiding dark secrets. In classrooms where bullies once reigned, students now learn to support each other. In computer labs once used to identify potential victims, young people learn to defend themselves and others. And somewhere out there, Maya Chen continues her silent war against those who would manipulate and control the vulnerable. Her quiet sister, once seen as an easy target, has become a beacon of resistance. The bullies truly didn't realize they were messing with the wrong girl, and neither did the puppet masters behind them. Because sometimes the greatest victories don't come from violence or revenge, but from exposing the truth, from turning victims into protectors, from showing that even the quietest voice can spark a revolution. As Alex leaves the school, she pauses to watch new students arriving for the Phoenix program's evening session, each one carrying the potential to be another quiet revolutionary, another unexpected hero. The fight isn't over, but now they're ready. Now they know. Underestimate us at your peril, because the quiet ones are watching, and they're not staying quiet anymore. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.